Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today I'm here with a video that I wasn't planning but I kind of feel honor bound to do because it's the right thing to do. So, let's see, was it last week? It might have been last week, might have been the week before, I can't remember. I launched my Ammonite foam stamp. Came in two different sizes. I loved it. I showed the versatility of it, and you absolutely loved it as well. And I thank you for the support and the kind comments. Now, when I filmed that video, this background was already made minus the stamping. And I did that because in the course of the video, I wanted to share other things. And I made this background at gone midnight and I wasn't going to film it. And although you were very kind in your comments, I did get a feeling of regret running through them that, Ceri, I wish you'd have filmed it. Well, if I'd have filmed it, I'd have to have waited till the next day and that would have delayed the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, I don't want to say duplicate because duplicate means I can do the same thing twice. I'm going to try and remake this as close to the original as possible, just so at least you can see the techniques I used and what I went through and how I did it. Now, because I've only done it recently, I already remember which mark making tools I used. Most of the paints I remember as well. There's one thing I can't guarantee. I did this, okay, this was a 12 by 12 pad. And the paint I used in the background was just a bit of spare paint. And it was already on here, basically. It was from an old tube of paint that I put on here, and it was a way of clearing out some of my old pots of paint. And then these, there's about 9 or 10 of these, all different colors, and I put them into a box, and they are put into a box where in the future, if I want to tickle up a 12 by 12 or use up spare stamping, I stamp on. So this original print was, let's see if I can find somewhere where the color is, sort of the color in here under the white. Let's see if I can find a bit that's not got white on it. This sort of color here. Now the thing is, I don't have that color. I don't know what the color is. These were made probably about a year ago, before I obviously finished it off in the morning. But yeah, the actual base color, I just don't know what it is. So I'm going to try and come close to it. So be patient with me. There may be a bit of mixing. I've got some feelings I might be able to get close to it. Like this color here, there's hints of it within there. This color here, which is a lighter blue, is in here somewhere. And I think this color is pretty close to this color as well. So we're going to do some mixing and I'm going to see where I get to. And whatever we end up with is pretty much going to be what I'm going to use as the base color. Now, I am mixing both matte and shimmer or pearl paints in this mixture. So, as I said, I'm unsure. We'll make up this batch and then we'll tweak. And then hopefully this will be enough to actually make the whole thing. I've mixed out quite a bit of it. I've got a feeling the secret ingredient was something very similar to this, because that's very, very close to the original. It's just I know there was a bit of green within it, because I really closely looked at this. I mean, see, that needs a little bit. I think it needs a little bit of white for a start. So thank you for everyone who commented on my Ammonite launch. Yes, I love it as much as you do. I think that came across in the video. And thank you for those who actually went over and purchased it. Every little bit of income helps me keep this channel going, so I'm very happy with that. Unfortunately, I know it's out of the reach of some budgets because of international shipping if you're not in the USA, and I'm not in the USA either, so I do fully get it. Right, we're not far off. I think if I roll this out thinly, because there's quite a lot of I went to town over the top of this, so I'm looking basically for a base color. So I think we're going to go with this. And if it's too dark, I can always put another layer of white over the top. Right, I'm using 250 GSM cardstock. I'm not using a 12 by 12 because I don't have any at the moment, although sometimes they are the cheaper option. So let's just get this on this plate. Probably got too much, but that's fine because I've got a couple of cleanup sheets I can use up spare paint on. That's the only trouble when you're mixing colours. You never know the ratios, so it means that you'll end up with far more paint or far too little paint. Yeah, I think this isn't a bad colour anyway. In fact, what I might do is I might do this and maybe put a bit of a pearl of some sort over the top if it doesn't look right, which it might do. That's a lot of paint. Oh, just about to put on the one that we've already done. That was a lot of paint on there, so I'm probably going to get more than enough for a cleanup sheet. Okay, that's a little darker than I anticipated, but that's okay. I can work with that. I think what I'm going to do is, besides get a bit of paper on the go, I'm going to get a really thin amount of, let's do it on here, a bit of white on there. And then there's quite a lot of paint on this brayer still. So if I mix this in, and actually if I put some more of this blue shimmer in, because the original paint background was quite shiny. I remember seeing that because the electric light at Gone Midnight was showing it to me. Right. As I said, I'm not worried that it's perfectly the right match, but if I can get it into the right ballpark for you guys, then I think you'll be as happy as I'm going to be. That feels better already. And the darker colour that's already on there will shine through from the back. Let's skim across here. I don't really want lines in it. Something stuck on this brayer. I'll have to have a look in a minute. There's something stuck on there somewhere that I'm not happy with, but never mind, we'll sort it out. Right, let's get this down. And I'm going to pick it up and turn it around just because it will help me eliminate white edges, because I've had this gel plate a long time, and I think at Christmas I am going to treat myself to a second 12 by 12 because I use 12 by 12 a lot in my videos, and it would be very beneficial if I could have two of them on the go. But as we know, a large gel plate is a considered purchase. Right, I like that. I think I would definitely accept that. Let's take that over there just to cover up that white. There's a little bit of white down here as well. Right, I think we've got a base colour. It's not perfectly the same, but then that's fine. That's definitely going to need drying off. And I'm back, and it's dry. It's as dry as it needs to be. Right, so I think we're in the same ballpark. I mean, I'm happy with that. It's not exact. I knew I was never going to get exact. Right, now I'm going to have to analyze this as I go along. So maybe it might help you and hear my thought process of this. I can see very faint hints of a shiny green in the back. And I recently bought this, so I am absolutely certain that's what that is. So I love these DYNA paints. So I know I would have put it on with the gel plate. I wouldn't have put it on any other way. As it's only little pieces, I can also guarantee that it wasn't a full plate coverage. It was something like this. I would have come in and just put patch of it just so that when I put this down, it gave it a little extra dimension. And I tend to do that quite often in that it just, see what I mean? It just takes it to another level. I think that's probably more than enough. I quite like to have had the edge covered. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain when the gel plate is no longer the square shape. Right, so I can see I've got that. That mirrors what I've got in there. Now, tidy up on that for a second. Now, I do know that I used to stencil next, because I remember going through the stencils looking for a specific stencil because I knew I had it. I just needed to dig it out. I've been working on rearranging my studio recently, so therefore things aren't where they used to be, and I haven't got used to where the things are going to be. So this can go back. And I think this is the colour I use. Now, this is a mixed bottle. Eventually, I hope to not have mixed bottles anymore, but it's a mixed bottle. And I know I put this on with one of these high density makeup brushes or blending brushes. I know that because I remember it. It's funny the things I do remember and the things I don't remember. And the stencil I was using is Neurosphering by Darcy Sanders. One of my favorites. I love this element, and this is pretty much what I use for most of that. So I know I would have done there. I can see I did there, a little bit there, and I'm looking at it ahead of me. I've got this in front of me, so I know that if I can look at it, I can hopefully try and duplicate it. So I would have started up there. So I'm just going to put out some of this. Don't need a huge amount of it. The trick is when you're using one of these blending brushes is to have a little bit of paint and build up the colour through the stencil. Don't go in with a heavy brush full of paint. And then just with a circular motion, as I would do normally with inks, I blended it out. There you go, that's that. Right, what did I do? Right, there was a circle down here, and I swear I turned it. No, I didn't. I turned it that way. So I can see because of this line here. If I had two cameras, I would share the other view with you. And now I focused on the circle, and I did a little bit up because I can see that from where I'm standing. And this almost disappears into the background on the final piece. Right. So that was up there, and I pulled it across there. Let's bring that up to the top. And I noticed this was quite faint up here. As I said, most of it gets covered up anyway, and there was a bit by there because I can see it. And then there's one patch down here that looks like it was that way round. Yeah, there's one thing about, if you ever try to recreate, actually it's that bit there, isn't it? Is it? No, it was that bit there. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, I know. If you ever try to redo a piece of your own work, remember that even the top forgers in the world can never identically copy a piece of art. They can get very close to it, enough to fool experts, but they will always get caught out because they will have messed up on using the correct pigments or technique or canvas, or there's always the essence of the original artist always stays within the original work. And it depends on the level of expertise of the expert as to whether they can find it or not. And believe me, the art world is still being fooled to this very day, and being fooled by pieces for years and years and years. But nobody knows exactly how many pieces of art out there that are forgeries. Right, we're getting there. Right, bear with me, I just want to brayer that out because I am not one for wasting paint. So just adding some white to this, stick your finger in it, Griffiths. Put this back on here. This was a print of many layers, but then that's how I work anyway. So before I brayer this out, this is what I used. Okay, this is a plastic piece that is used in the cake world. It was left over from when I used to be a cake decorator and designer, and it was used for rolling sugar paste or fondant onto it so you'd have a textural finish. And I love this side. I love this side. So, and that's what I used here, although it was quite faint. And I think that's because I rolled it over the blue and the blue picked up some of it. It didn't appear white. I feel I want to douse something into that. I'm just going to put a bit of that greeny colour I used before in here. Just a touch. Because it is just a slightly different colour. I know I saved white, I think, for one of the next stages. That's better, that's what I was looking for. So as you can see, this is the colour here because it was the last thing I did with this. So just tap that in, and it came in, and I just literally pressed it down just to give myself areas. See, just so it's really, really faint. And at the time, that's exactly what I wanted. Many of you commented that this really looks like fabric, the finished piece, and it was only when I saw it in daylight did I go, oh, it is very visually textured, isn't it? Right. So there you go. So I've now replicated this really faint areas here. I've got them back in again. Let's just take this out of here for a start, because I don't want to put the cleanup sheet on top of it and then cause myself future problems. So what came next? I think it was the mesh that came next. Or was it darker blue? I'm starting to doubt myself, because that blue looks lighter than that blue. And I think I might try and come in and put some of the darker blue back into it. Because I think it was the blue that gave it the impact I wanted. I think it was this one. This looks very much like indigo to me. And I think I can just, yeah, I've got the stencil already here. So let's put this back down. As I said, inspired by, not going to be perfectly duplicated. We know that from the get-go. So I would say this is almost an indigo blue. In fact, I'm probably guaranteed that's an indigo blue. So I can match this up again. And I don't have to get it perfect, but I want to reintroduce that dark blue colour into it. Because I liked the depth that gave it. Yes, it was that. Right, I need to remember how did I do this one. This one was that way round. I won't be redoing the white pattern we've just done. I can leave that as is. That doesn't bother me. Right, this matched up in here somewhere. Where are you? There you go. Let's had a bit of dark down there. And a little bit of dark up here. Yeah, it was this colour I used. Yeah, that's the colour, right. And I wanted to get this involved. Where are you? Do I do it this way on? I can't find this piece. Actually, I think I can find this piece. Or maybe I can't find this piece. I didn't turn it over, did I? No, I didn't, because there's no blue on it. I'm looking at that piece thinking it's that piece, and it's obviously not. Where are you? There you go. Knew I'd find it eventually. Said he, sounding very, very cocky with himself. Right, I'm happier with that. That's kind of given me, I just need to pull a little bit. I've just noticed now that I'm looking at this, I missed doing the piece down the bottom. This needed it as well. Come on, off you come. Right, we're back up to speed now. That doesn't make me happy. Now, because the paint underneath is dry, I should be able to lift it out, which I just did. Because obviously it's a plastic style paint, and once it's dry, you can actually, if you're quick and you're careful, you can lift stuff. Right, that's looking better. Right, let's put that to one side and get this braid out. And I'm back. Just needed a bit of a clean up, and the brush needed to go in water. So this is where I'm at. So as you just saw, I altered the intensity of the blue, because now you can see this was definitely that blue. So my next step, I absolutely remember my next step, was this. And I know that I covered almost the entire thing with it, which is where that sort of fabricish look comes from, I believe. So it was just white paint. And I've only got the 5x7 here because I tend to use it as a palette. So let's put this down, pick it up in several ways. And I'm just going to work my way over the print and actually put this down, as I said, pretty much all over it. It's fairly easy to match the grid up because it's a grid. I think I just want a bit more in there. See, I've even got the lines in here from the edges. Funnily enough, that's what I had on the original. Let's put that into there. Just to finish that off. It looks like it needs a little more up there. Ooh, and there's none down there whatsoever. Right, okay, happy with that. That's given me this lattice you see in the background. Right, and I have to start paying attention now. Right. Okay, let's just give this a bit of a clean. Right, so I'm using Prussian for the next bit because I didn't want it black, but I did want darkness. And what I'm looking to do as the next step is these dots here, the ones that look like they're all lined up. And I've mentioned this before, but I mentioned it again. I'm using this non-slip draw liner stuff. But if you use one side, you'll get a grid. But if you flip it around, this side gives you dots, which is how I did the dots on that piece. So let me just turn that just about in the right direction. So this was in some certain select areas. Let me just make sure I've got the right bits where I need them. Actually, I think it was that way. So I'll put a little bit of that. A little bit goes a long way with this paint. So coming in, and I'm using the dotted side. And it was up by there. See, that's where it came from. Right. This has some along the bottom. It's really hard trying to duplicate your own piece. It's like, because when I create, I basically just create. And to actually have to try and duplicate my own work, I'm finding it a little tricky. I've done it before though, not with this piece, but with others. And it is a nice challenge, I will freely admit, trying to duplicate your own stuff is an interesting exercise, should we call it. Right, now I need a bit in here. It just needs to be pretty much in the middle. That's what I was looking for. And then there's a piece down here. And I think if I make, oh, I've got a little bit there I need to get as well. Just that top edge. Right, I think we've pretty much, I'm okay with that. Let's bring in the cleanup sheet, because I might as well take, oh, there's another one stuck to the bottom of it. I didn't know about that. I might as well take advantage to the fact that I've got this on the go and just print up whatever is hanging around. Because why wouldn't you? These become backgrounds in my art journal. A lot of the time they become backgrounds in my art journal. Not always, mind, but very, very often. Beginning to dry out. So, right, I'm going to start working with gold. This is my favorite gold, currently my favorite gold, because you never know when a new one's going to come out and I'm going to like it. And I'm going to use Sketchy Dots, which is a foam stamp design of mine. Now this should be fairly easy because with the one sat above me, I can see exactly where the dots went. So when you use a foam stamp, always press in the middle, because sometimes when they're cut by a laser, they tend to curve slightly. But if you look at it before you use it, you will see where the stuff is. Right, so there's a piece there. And there was a piece there. There's a piece by there. Let's turn it round for there. There's another bit up there. There's another bit over there. I think I need just a touch more gold. It's tending to get a bit thin on me. There's some across there. There's a piece there. There's the end of a piece there. There's a little bit up in that corner. There's quite a big piece down here. Oops, off we go. And there's a piece over here. Right, I think I've got them all. Yes, I've got them all. Right, now that's going to need to be dried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you for a few seconds. I'm going to use up the spare gold paint on my cleanup sheet, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back and we're dry. Now the next stage might not be that obvious to you on the camera. You might see it with me moving it, but there are copper coloured circles here. Just little groupings of them. It's a subtle detail, but I really like it. So I'm going to put this closer to me this time, because if I'm going to try and duplicate it, I need to have it closer to me. So it was called Sketchy Circles, and I'm using the Metallics by Pebeo, and it's the copper. Probably way more than I need, but I'm sure my cleanup sheet's going to enjoy it. Right. So there was a piece that came in here, a piece that came across there. It's almost like being a baker again. I'm trying to work the recipe out for this. Piece that goes across there. There's a bit that went down the side. there's a piece that fits in there. Bit that goes in there. Bit that fits in there. One that fits in there. Have I missed any? Okay. I think I want to put one there, not because there was one in the original, it just feels like it. Okay, that's fine. So you can see it just adds another layer. Now we're almost there. Well, in fact, the only thing left to do is actually the ammonites. So I'm going to make a change because I've done the ammonites in black. I think I want to do the ammonites in white on this one, but the exercise was, could I create the background or recreate it? And I think I have. It's slightly different in the intensity of the blues, but I'm happy with that. Happy with that. Right, so again, sorry, cameras need to go off because I need to clean this up, get ready for white, because I can't put white onto top of copper. And I'm back. So I think I'm pretty close in replicating the background. I mean, not a bad attempt. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stamp the ammonites on here. But as I said, I want to do them in white because why have two exactly the same? I want to have a different combination. So I'm going to put this to one side because it's in the same orientation, and then I can come in and actually try and duplicate the whole thing as it was before. So I'm just going to use white acrylic paint. A little bit more than that because I know that I've got quite a bit of stamping to do, and it never goes to waste because it always goes onto the cleanup sheet anyway. And yes, we will look at the cleanup sheet as well. So I'm going to start with the large one. Again, I press in the middle, and this went there. Put it down. Give it a flat press. No need to hammer it. Just a flat press. That's interesting. Loving that. Right, there was another curl of the white one up here. I actually don't like the fact that I slipped on that. I wonder whether I can get that off. Right. Just really, really quickly. Remember, if everything underneath is dry, you can sometimes do that. So let's just redo that one. I think it was because I was trying to do it on an angle, to be honest with you. Let's just pop it in there. There you go. Happier with that now. Right, was that the only two large ones I did? It was. Right, let's come in with the smaller one. So there was a smaller one by here. A smaller one here. A smaller one by here. Right, there were a couple of repeats. One by there. One by there. There's one going off the side over here. And I think we have one more up there and we're done. I knock you with my head, possibly. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? Sorry, so where the iPad is. Right, I'm going to put this to one side a second. And we're going to pull in. This is how the cleanup sheet evolved, which I think is beautiful. So I'm just going to use up this spare paint. And actually, I'm going to stamp these onto here because it's beautiful. And I find if I turn my work as I'm creating, I tend not to be too systematic in where I put things. Here's a smaller one. Now, I am going to put a link to the original video for the Ammonite review, well, launch, should I call it, not a review, just so you can see the process and the clever little things this stamp can do, because I'm not going to reiterate those when there's already an excellent video out there, if I do say so myself. I think that's that. So this is our cleanup sheet. Oops, I won't hold it. And that will definitely become something in the future. All clean, all dry, all tidy. So this was the original. This is the one that I did to launch the Ammonite stamp, and that inspired that one. I think, even if I do pat myself on my own back, that's not a million miles from that. This one has got a touch more blue to it. This one has got a touch more lightness to it. But who knows? Maybe it was the early hours of the morning I was seeing that as lighter than it was. So, and I like having used the white on there because it does give it a very lacy feel. Now, if you do want any of my foam stamps, by the way, if you look into my description box, at the bottom of the description box, there is something called Foam Stamp Quick View. Click that to go through to my website. There will be a visual catalogue of all the different stamps and what they do, and if you click on the image you like, it will then take you through to PM Artist Studio, where you can find out further information. If you do choose to actually purchase, that's where you'll find the right links. So hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. A little bit of a challenge for me on a Friday morning, but that's okay. I'm quite happy to come up to that one, and I've ended up with another print. So I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time. Bye-bye now.